Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me again. And what you see here is my presentation about what? Yes, it's the presentation about the strategy. Oh, what's going on here? The presentation about business future images of manufacturing and service with IIoT. What does that mean? The strategy to create a digital single market is a requirement in Europe to speak about the development of the economy in Europe. And that means we have to figure out which part of this economy is big enough. And you see big numbers here about the market in manufacturing. And that means we speak about 2 million enterprises, 33 million jobs, 30%, 60% of productivity growth. And these are so valuable numbers that we have to understand who is responsible for exactly this outcome. And we can see industry and SMEs, researchers and public authorities make the most of these new technologies. So this is at the end the path to digitize European industry. What you see here is a map of Europe, and this map is showing you a country collection which is huge, 27, at the moment 28 countries belong together and have the same market. So you have to understand different political systems are working together, and if this shall work, we need a framework to do this. And this is the background to explain how this can work in our region. Now look, these are the people talking about the outcome at the end. This is the parliament. This parliament is giving rules so that we can work in a closed or an open market depending on the rule sets. And one of these rules was the understanding that we have to bring a digitizing European industry in a better condition than we had it in the past. So everybody is talking about this, but what does it mean? In 2017, the Parliament came together to review what happened 1 year before. But you can see the Parliament is not doing really the work. The work is coming from the Commission. The Commission is another entity. And if you look to the persons, they are sitting in another scheme, they are working together in another way, but they are deciding about what we call digitizing industry in Europe. So this DEI is an abbreviation we will find over the next years. So manufacturing and service with IIoT means, yeah, what does it mean? In 2016, it defined what to speak about. This is Internet of Things, this is cloud computing, this is big data and data analytics, this is robotics and 3D printing. So this is the stuff everybody should know, but what is the way to make the market running better? And this is a research and innovation program which is established in 2014 for a running program, and on this regulations and IIoT standards are growing. So what is the issue? If you look to the big numbers from the beginning, there is a part of SMEs which are small, 90% in principle of the SMEs have less than 250 employees. On one side, this is important. On the other side, we have the convergence of IoT and IT, and these factors has to be understood to see what the market will bring in future. So I now change the format. What I told you was done in my job from Fujitsu. But I have another parallel job in the Alliance of Internet of Things, which is responsible in Brussels as an association working together with the Commission. And this Commission work is so important for a lot of associations to understand how to influence the market. Now, the idea was speaking about robotics and cobotics projects for SMEs. Everybody in this room knows that big companies don't need to speak on the stage about what they have to do in the former. They will do it in former times. They will do it, but SME has to be should understand what the market is driving in which way, and so the Commission has a real interest to take all these SMEs on the hand in some way and help them. This is the European Research and Innovation Program. This is done for the 4 participants I just spoke in the beginning. And if you look to the timeline, Horizon 2020, since 2014, there was a budget, or there is a budget, of 80 billion euros in this time of 7 years. Because we have a follower in this Horizon Europe follow-up, it's starting in 2021, has a 100 billion budget, a 100 billion euro budget. And what does that mean in terms of projects at the end? You can imagine that a lot of projects are running. So we need a kind of partnership which can help the Commission to organize these projects. And I will point to one EU partnership partner. This is the European Factories of the Future Research Association. The abbreviation is EFRA. And our examples are robotics and cobotics and services. So we have to understand these projects are directly built for SMEs, but yes, large enterprises are participating, research is participating, and other players as well. So at the end, this is a European collaboration story. And what you see in the bottom, there are some of the logos on the right side. These are small but very important projects. So I will speak about them as well. So the European research and consortia landscape on IIoT, what I just said in the beginning, points to European research and consortia coming from an OT and IT market. On the other side, the central leadership on the part of Brussels is mostly united in the corresponding research and funding program under the umbrella of Horizon 2020 and the upcoming Horizon Europe. Now this is the stuff I want to explain, hopefully now. Yes, this is a platform which gets the program, which controls the projects, which monitors the results, and if we go deep in, they are responsible for innovation for manufacturing SMEs, and we are pointing to robotics and cobotics. I think cobotics are clear from the usage. This is a collaborative robot, mostly out of the cage. So in these use cases in the future, we have to learn a lot. There is one program, there is one project named HORSE, and you can see on the right side, this is a human work which is mostly not very nice to do, and it's a loud job, And people doing this over their whole life are not happy doing this every day. So there is an idea helping this kind of work stream in a factory, and this is done by these robots. And this is the content of this project. They are funded mostly around 4 to 5 million. Some projects have 6 to 10 participants, so they are working on a clear target, not too big, but this is a robot which will do things mostly too big for SME. So a robot which is able to do the same in the same format is very helpful for SMEs. We have another major project which is working in a so-called Reconfiguration Cell. What we are doing is the widely autonomous robot cell is self-configuring. So the robot is able to change everything for every product in the cell. So nobody is needed to bring all the different tools together. This is done automatically, more or less. This cell is absolutely autonomous. This is one of the outcomes of this project, and at the end, mostly I forget to tell this, there is a phase where these products go to the market. This is funded research and dissemination at the end. And this is very helpful for companies which will survive over the next years. And there's another project, European Robotics Challenges. These challenges have to be fulfilled, and the outcome of this project is there is a based shop floor logistics and manipulation robot in place together with this little guy on the bottom, which looks for plant services and inspection. So nobody has to do it anymore as a human, and this can be done with these systems. Not really big projects, but very intelligent projects. So you can see this is an IoT story, more or less. But what is with the human? In Japan, you have the Society 5.0 story. And if you understand very well, most people in Europe are not thinking in that way. So we have to establish projects to understand the situation. The aim in this project is a healthy workplace for workers to increase competitiveness of the company where these people are working. Support for the workers on the production line with specific instructions for carrying out certain activities, or increase the well-being of the worker through the use of a robotic. The virtual model of factory aims to monitor production performance in manufacturing using values obtained from virtual representation. We heard it in the beginning. Of course, this is the digital twin, and some of the technologies you will find here are not new, but the combination of understanding how they interact is more or less researched. I don't want to give you all the details here, but the outcome is human automation load balancing methods are important. We don't know what is the outcome in 5 or 10 years working together with cobots if our people and workers don't want to do this anymore. And so robotics and cobotics development has to understand these requirements. Development for methods and measuring for worker satisfaction is of course a part. If the workers don't want to do it anymore, we don't have any positive output. And develop an advanced shop floor tool facilitating artificial augmented reality technologies, which are important for some of the processes, have their influence to the people if they don't do this. This is user-centric question in future as well. So if you look to this framework, you can see on the left side, the machine is working 24 hours, and if this machine is calling for a human, then the human will be controlled by a machine. And if this machine is not controlled in the right world, then the human are the victims at the end, and this is not what we want. So the project tries to figure out how the human automation balancing can be done in conjunction with robots and human workers. What we heard in the beginning was speaking about the German platform Industry 4.0. What I want to recall is these three projects belong together. We speak about standardization. We speak about a lab which brings out what we heard, a lot of projects which are successful. And if we wrap up what the sense of our platform is, aims to develop joint recommendations for all stakeholders that serve as the basis for a consistent and reliable framework, and will initiate alliances and networks at the pre-competitive stage, as we had before, with support the evaluation of the entrepreneur skills and energy present in Germany. So this is a national-driven platform, but we are not alone. You heard it in the beginning or before. The French do the same, and they call it different, but I tell you a secret, they are doing the same. They call it generic concept, and this concept has another name, but they are doing, in principle, a similar job. And now we are starting a collaboration, as you heard before from Mr. Hess, and this is a speciality in Europe. Different countries have to understand by themselves, in their language, in their legal system, what is the speciality, and come together afterwards. Maybe that this is a blueprint for the future, so this is outside Europe valid as well. The last but not least project I will introduce is a line information system architecture coming from Sweden. Of course, we have a lot of other countries, but these are interesting enough because you can see these stones cannot be balanced without any idea how to do it. And this is the idea of the line information system, to have a concrete control over the flexible Industry 4.0 architecture and future. Nobody knows how the influence of a network will behave if we are too agile and don't understand the control system. Thank you.